This video is for Section 2 of the Appeal Form 35A, which is the heart of the appeal, the reasons why you disagree with the local authority decision. Now this takes a lot of thought and time, and this video is quite a bit longer than our other appeal form videos, so we recommend that you stop and come back to it as you need to. We would also recommend that you watch our video for Section 11, as this looks at how best to refer to any evidence you may be sending the tribunal in support of your appeal. If you are struggling with putting your thoughts together to explain your reasons, we have some tips and information on the tribunal pages of our SEND website in Suffolk, which may help you. Here, the form refers to the legal test or threshold for an EHC needs assessment, which is contained in the Children and Families Act of 2014, and which says, a local authority must secure, or do, an EHC needs assessment if a child or young person has or may have special educational needs, and it may be necessary for special educational provision, which means support, to be made in accordance with an EHC plan. In other words, if there is a possibility that your child may have SEN, which may need support, which goes beyond the resources and specialist advice routinely available to a nursery, school or college. So in line with this test, the first thing the tribunal needs to find out is if your child may have special educational needs, or SEN. So this first question gives you the chance to explain what kind of difficulties with learning your child has. If you have a copy of the information you sent to the LA when you prepared the family advice form requesting an EHC needs assessment, then this will help you. And remember, if you would like more space to write your views, you can write in any of the boxes, "Please see attached sheet," and you can send a separate document when you email or post this form to the tribunal. Remember though to clearly mark this separate document "Reasons for my appeal" when you add it to your form. So the first box is where you can write all the special educational needs which the nursery, school or college has identified, and the difficulties you have noted at home. For all your responses, do try and keep it short. Separate your points into paragraphs or use bullet points. If you're using paragraphs, number them or organise them under headings. Don't get bogged down in history. If there is a long history of difficulties between you and the LA, let the evidence, for example letters between you and the LA, speak for itself. And we will look at how best to refer to your evidence in our video for Section 11. Remember, it is learning needs that trigger an EHC needs assessment. But health and social care needs are important to include if they are making it more difficult for your child to learn or to access learning. If you don't have a copy of the information you prepared in the family advice form, or you can't remember what you originally sent, then you might like to consider the following: how your child focuses at home, how your child communicates and interacts with family members and with other children, how your child follows instructions which you give at home. Does your child need help preparing for things the family does, or for any changes to your normal routine? If your child has any worries about learning, and what have they told you? If you've noticed any sensitivities when it comes to eating, wearing clothes, washing and toileting, which may also be an issue in a learning environment. Does your child struggle to manage their feelings and behaviour? Is he or she very impulsive? And has your child been excluded from school, and if so, what were the reasons? Now the next box is where you can tell the tribunal if your child has any special educational needs which you don't feel have been fully identified. For example, do you feel that there are gaps in knowledge, despite outside advice being sought, and that a needs assessment is needed to clarify what your child's special educational needs are? If so, give the tribunal an idea of what these gaps might be, and what your child is telling you. A learning setting and home are very different environments, and it is quite common for children to present in very different ways in these two settings. Perhaps your child is showing difficulties or worries which have not been so obvious in the learning setting. Do quote your child's words, as these can be very powerful and give the tribunal a good idea of your child's feelings. Or maybe your child is waiting for a specialist assessment. Here you can share what difficulties have led to your child being referred for assessment and what kind of assessment it is. Now the next part refers back to the legal test for assessment, where your child may have SEN, which may need support which goes beyond the resources and advice routinely available to a setting. Now the law says that nursery schools and colleges must use their best endeavours to make sure that a child with SEN gets the support they need. This means doing everything they can to meet children and young people's SEN. The law also expects a learning setting to consider involving specialists and outside advice if a plan of support isn't having the expected positive impact. So in question 2, you can give the tribunal an idea of what kind of support the learning setting has already offered your child, and if your child is struggling despite this support and advice, explain why you feel your child needs extra help which goes beyond what the learning setting can offer. Think about inclusion. Give the tribunal a bullet point overview of any times your child has been taught outside the main classroom, or has been on a part-time timetable, or has been officially excluded. Always bear in mind what reasons the local authority have given in their letter refusing to do an EHC needs assessment. For example, the LA may refuse on the grounds that they feel that the child would benefit from further support from a particular outside agency. Sometimes parents have told us that the school has helpfully made a referral to an outside service, but this is not available for 1 or more terms, and in the meantime their child continues to struggle. If this is the case for you, especially if things have reached a crisis point, let the tribunal know, and if you feel that you cannot wait for this additional support to be offered, explain your reasons why.